According to ancient architects, there is an exciting new project called the Khufu Tomb Exploration Project. But I'll let these few clips from the channel explain the situation.
Khufu could be buried right here. This is where Yoshimura believes we'll find King Khufu. Yoshimura is determined that Khufu is buried on the Giza Plateau, but not within the footprint of the Great Pyramid itself. And this looks to be a great candidate for where he could be.
If you want to know the specifics about what they're doing on the project, what they've found so far, well, at least what they've found so far that they'll tell us about, and all the interesting little bits of information about the area, check out the episode on the Ancient Architects channel on YouTube, and it is about 25 minutes long, but it's so interesting that you will really enjoy watching it. Now, I'll start to tell you all about why I think this is so exciting and so important from my perspective. For those of you that watch my channel, you'll probably be familiar with how the pyramids existed before the dynastic Egyptians came along, in my opinion, and that when they saw the pyramids, they believed that they were built by the gods and left over from the era of the before times, or Zep-Tepi. The Great Pyramid and all the other megalithic buildings around the pyramids on the plateau were all in ruins, and that in restoring one of these magnificent buildings, they would gain the favour of the gods, and by being buried near to the places that they were party to restoring, they basically got themselves a front row seat to get that favour from the gods. Now, whether or not the gods exist, that's not something that one could tell the dynastic Egyptians about, but hey, that's a debate for another day. So essentially, I agree with the Japanese archaeologist. I don't think that it was ever a tomb. I think when the dynastic Egyptians found it, it was a fairly run-down, ruined structure from a much more ancient time, and they did restoration on it to make it the beautiful building with the Tura limestone casings, and made it a stunning building that Egypt could be proud of. So how does this all relate to the project? And why am I so happy about this project? Well, that's easy. If they do discover that Khufu is, or was at some stage, buried in this location, that means that the Great Pyramid was never intended to be a tomb. So people will then say, well, if it wasn't a tomb, what was it supposed to be? And then maybe people will start talking to people like me about it. One of the funny things about this location is that in 2022, when I was in Egypt, I actually walked over that very spot that they're now digging in. And so, yeah, I know it personally. So now let's just have a little look at the way that the buildings actually looked during the reign of Khufu, or at least at the end of the reign of Khufu, when the people were using this as a necropolis. So here it shows the area where the boats would pull up at the front of the temple, and we can then go inside that particular temple and have a little walk around. It has been made to look very much like the temple which is in the front of the Sphinx, so that there is that commonality there. And so this building doesn't currently exist, just there. This is the archaeologist's perspective on what it probably looked like based on the evidence that they have. And so various rooms here, and then once we've seen these various rooms, we can head up towards the walkway. And we're now reaching the temple that was in front of the Great Pyramid. And a quick shot of the credits that were at the end of that video that was at the museum. So we've got all this interesting stuff going on at the front of the Great Pyramid. The causeway, going past Queen Hetephere's tomb, going to the funerary temple, and then the place that they're digging to look for the tomb of Khufu is right on the other side in the Western Cemetery, right next to the tomb of Hemon, which is actually a good safe place to put it, not some place that any tomb raiders would necessarily expect to find it. They would expect it to be at the front, I'm sure. So that's my take on all of this, and before you forget, go watch the episode by Ancient Architects if you haven't already, because you will learn a lot. It's really great. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.